Welcome to my off-grid adventures. I'm Frank and I'm glad you're here with me today because we're going to compare plowing snow in Michigan with a bucket versus a snow pusher. The main reason I bought my tractor last year was to keep the trails clear all year long on our 60-acre off-grid Michigan property, but I didn't realize how challenging that would be just using the bucket that came on my tractor. I'm sure that some people can use a bucket well to move snow, but all that I managed to do was make the trails worse. Much worse. I kept gouging the ground, leaving deep ruts in the trails even when I was using the float function. So late last year I did some research and I learned that a snow pusher would likely be the best tool for me. There are a lot of options out there for snow pushers and they come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and price points. I ended up going with an HLA 1500 snow pusher, and I'd like to tell you a few things about it and why I chose this over the others that are out there. First of all, it's 60 inches wide. That's just a bit wider than my tractor. I insisted on getting this in John Deere green, of course. It has a sturdy steel cutting edge. It has skid runners or skid bars that keep it from digging into the ground. There are two features of this HLA 1500 snow pusher that made me decide to go with it instead of the others. One is that it has a back drag, and that lets you get close to structures so that you can pull the snow backwards. It also has double sidewalls that make it unique in that it's the only snow pusher I could find that didn't have the support bars or braces of some kind that would keep it structurally strong. But those braces end up blocking the natural curling and pushing of the snow as you move forward and push it and plow. So I wanted to have a snow pusher that was clear of any kind of obstacle that would jam the snow and keep it from easily moving forward and being left on the side of the path. It only weighs about 200 pounds. I bought it from Mid-Michigan Snow and Landscape in Stanton, Michigan. But I bought it at the end of the season last year and it never snowed enough to use it. So this is my first time using it. And I'm using a 3033R John Deere tractor. This is a 2023 model with a cab. I currently have an iMatch quick hitch on it with a Frontier ballast box that's filled with stones weighing about 500 pounds. By the way, I'm using turf tires on this tractor. They are filled with rim guard tire ballast, but I don't have chains on them at the moment. I own chains, but I didn't put them on because it's kind of a hassle, and I haven't needed them so far. And I've been able to clear trails up to 10 inches deep without using those chains. There are two things I'd like to share with you that I learned from using this snow pusher the first couple of times that I think might be helpful to you if you're going to be using a tool like this and you haven't had experience with it before. I want to talk about the level indicator and the float function. The level indicator apparently doesn't work accurately for all attachments. Usually you can expect that your bucket will be level when the curve of this metal bar is in line with this bracket here, but that isn't always true for every attachment. With the snow pusher, when it was level according to the indicator, it was actually still tipped forward, meaning that the bottom back edge of the pusher where the snow scraped off the ground was too high, leaving a gap and a few inches of snow that wasn't pushed to the side. After watching some of this footage, I realized it wasn't level and I adjusted accordingly by tipping the snow pusher back a little more, and that made all the difference in the world. I had a clean, even surface after plowing the path once I figured out how to make sure it was level. I also want to discuss the float function. I didn't know how to use it, but after watching a video from GoodWorks Tractors, I realized that you engage this function by getting the snow pusher where you want it to be at the ground, and then pushing quickly forward on the stick. That lets the attachment float and adjust with the landscape, but I also tried it without using the float function, and I'm not sure which I prefer. Sometimes manually controlling the height of the attachment seemed to do a better job, and it was also faster to operate since I wasn't having to engage and disengage the function all the time. I suspect that if you had a long paved driveway or a street to plow or even a level gravel drive, the float function would be best, especially with just a few inches of snow. But with our bumpy trails and with snow that's 10 inches deep, you can only go about 5 feet at a time, sometimes 10 feet at a time. And it's just faster to keep raising and lowering the pusher manually as I move snow off to the side every 10 feet or so. So according to my experience, I highly recommend getting a snow pusher. I do like this HLA 1500. It's much better, for me at least, than using the bucket or any type of blade. I don't trust myself after all the damage I did to our trails last year, and I don't anticipate having that occur again with this setup. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a few things that might help you as you decide the best way to tackle the snow problem in your area. If you have any tips for me on how to better use the SnowPusher, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how to better maneuver this and figure out the patterns and types of ways that I can get more efficient at it. And if you'd like to see more content like this about living off-grid in Michigan, please subscribe. We'd love to have you join us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.